This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt stuck, whether it's a major life transition, a dark night of the soul, or just staying small out of fear. If you've ever struggled to move forward, if you're repeating unhealthy patterns in relationships, or you have a black belt in beating yourself up, you were meant for more, and this podcast is for you. We'll get real, we'll get vulnerable, we'll probably cuss a little bit, and we'll get to the root of it all, your self-worth. With every step, you'll find the courage to rise. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the ways that we hold ourselves back by projecting meaning onto things. And as I've said before, humans are meaning-making machines. Shakespeare says nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And ultimately what that means, I'm an English major nerd, so just a little shout out to Shakespeare there. But ultimately what that means is that things happen. There are facts. There are things that happen to us. There are things that occur. And then we apply meaning to those things. And we apply that meaning based on our own inner world. And usually what happens is that then we project either our wounding and our insecurities, or areas that we need to be really taking a look at for healing, or we project onto the situation our healing and our love and our compassion. It all depends on where we are, and it all depends on how comfortable you are. And when you hear those things come up in yourself, use them as signs and pieces of information. And here's what I mean by that. So as I work with clients and we work with breaking down what's holding you back from creating the life you want to be living. And something that I hear come up a lot are if there's something that you want to do or something that you're interested in doing, but I hear people say so often, but I'm not any good at it. Like, let's say you want to try yoga, but I'm no good at it. I'm not flexible. Well, of course you're not fucking flexible. You don't do yoga. Like, sometimes there are things like that said with the utmost love, we hold ourselves back because we create stories. And we forget that people who are really talented in certain areas, most of them, 95% of them, there are savants out there, but 95% of people didn't just wake up and all of a sudden they're good at yoga or good at playing the guitar or good at cooking or insert whatever it is that you've been wanting to do but haven't done. Because it's a common thing that I hear. Oh, well, I'm no good at it. Well, of course you're not good at it. You've never done it before. And I did this a couple years ago. I will say, and this is not a limiting belief, this is a fact, it takes me longer to coordinate my feet and hands with, actually I'm really good with the hand-eye coordination because I can play video games like a boss. But when it comes to things like dancing, it takes me a while to get rhythm and to coordinate my feet with what's going on. And so dancing has always been one of those things that I've wanted to do and wanted to be good at, but it's been challenging for me because I have said, oh, I'm no good at it. And so I challenged myself a couple years ago. Okay, well, life coach, practice what you preach, and go take a salsa dancing class, because I wanted to do this for a couple reasons. Partly because dancing is a really good way to get in touch with our feminine, and also because it scared the shit out of me, and because I knew it was one of those things that you've got to go and do it. You got to start somewhere. And no, you're not good at it when you start because you've never done it before. But everyone who gets good at something, you go, you start, you go back, you keep practicing, right? And for me, for that first class, oh my gosh, was it uncomfortable. Like super uncomfortable, very confronting, wanted to leave multiple times, might have cried a little bit at some point, because it really, if you're doing something that you've never done before, and if it's something that tends to hit on some other insecurities or things that you have, yeah, it's going to be really confronting, but that's normal. And the difference is, are you going to stick with it and see that that's what it is and continue to go and continue to practice? When you go to a yoga class for the very first time, you look around and there are probably people in there that are doing some pretty advanced moves. And you go, oh my gosh, I'm not flexible. I can't do that. Well, you can, if you can become more flexible if you go, and if you go consistently, and if you do it consistently, right? And remember that we're not good at things that we've never done before. There's not just like a chip that you can download. I've looked. It's not a thing yet. And the other thing that I see, and part of the reason that I wanted to talk about the meaning that we make of things is, I had a client that I was talking to who talked about how she said something about how she hasn't liked going to the gym because everybody judges her. And I said, stop right there. Really? Are they all judging you? She goes, everybody in there just looks so perfect. And I know they're all judging me. And my question is this: do you really know that? Can you read their minds? Or are you interpreting their presence? Are you interpreting maybe a look or something? Maybe they were just having a hard time lifting a weight and they gave you a really funny look, right? Are they really judging you? Do you know that for a fact? Is that really true? And the answer I get is, well, no, I don't really know that. So I said, well, what else could be going on here? Because the truth is, most of us humans are way too much in our head with our own insecurities to be worried about anybody else. And I had a very similar thing come up the same week with another client who was talking about she was at work and she was at the office, and there's this woman that's a few layers above her in the organization, and she said, I really have a lot of respect for her. I have a lot of admiration for her. She always dresses really nice. And she said, but she always looks at me like, she just always looks me up and down. And this client was making meaning of that. And the meaning that she was making was that this woman was judging her. And I said, do you know that for a fact? Do you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's what she was thinking? Because if you can read minds, sister, you're wasting your time in the job you're in, right? And she said, well, no, I don't really know that that's what she thought. So I said, what if she's looking you up and down and going, wow, she always looks good when she comes in. She always looks so well put together. She just has such a presence. I said, what if she's looking at you in admiration? And I said, and if nothing else, well, how do you feel when you apply both of those meanings? Which one makes you feel good? Which one makes you feel bad? Sometimes it comes down to just that. If we get to choose the meaning we apply, which we do, then let's make the choice that feels the best. And then let's use the rest, kind of that automatic meaning that we tend to want to apply to things. Use that as evidence of something in you where there's an insecurity, something that you really need to look at and go, ooh, wow, I have this come up a lot. Like I really feel I have some insecurity around, maybe my body and going to the gym or something, or I have insecurity around the way that I look. Interesting, right? Remember, look at it with compassion, without shame and without judgment, but see it as information. And in both cases, it was a matter of you really don't know what other people are thinking. And so you can choose the meaning. We tend to want to default to a negative meaning, and then it usually comes from wounds that we have from either maybe being bullied in the past or just our own insecurities. But choose the meaning that you have around it and choose what you want to apply to the situation. Because like I said, you can't read minds. Great on you if you can, but like I said, you're wasting your life. You can go do something else, Kreskin. And then the other thing is think about why it is that you're putting so much power on other people. If what's keeping you from going to the gym and getting healthy is that you're worried about what other people think, then let's stop and heal that, because you're fundamentally giving your power away, first of all, to people who, quite frankly, don't care about you. We all sort of, in our own insecurities, and I say this with so much love and compassion because I've definitely been there, in our own insecurity, we get in our head and we think that it's a little bit narcissistic. And again, not in a bad way, not in a judgmental way, but let's be honest here. The whole entire world is not looking at you, judging you. Not everybody in the world has their shit together looking at you going, wow, how come she's so fucked up, right? Like, let's take a group of people at a gym. All those people are in their heads about their own stuff, right? They're looking at you going, wow, I wish I had that girl's butt, or I wish my legs looked like that, or I wish my arms looked like that, or wow, her stomach looks like I would like mine to look. Like, you really don't know when people are looking at you. You don't know. They could be like, wow, it's so awesome that she's here working out just like I am. Or they're probably looking at you and not even seeing you because they're in their own head about their own crap, which is usually what most of us are doing most of the time. So remember that and just bring awareness to it, because don't let it stop you from doing something that's going to be good for you. And don't let it stop you from choosing to feel good. Like my client who, had this woman that she really looked up to that kept looking her up and down. Choose to believe that she's looking at you because she's really admiring you. And then choose to make a friend of her, right? Or choose to start a conversation with her. Because we sort of create these imaginary adversaries in our heads, and it doesn't do us any service at all. So look at the places that you're putting meaning. Are you putting meaning around there's something that you want to do, something new that you want to do that you've never tried before? Stop saying I'm not good at it. Of course you're not good at it. You've never done it before. Knock that shit off. Start to say, okay, well, the meaning I'm going to apply to this is something new. I've never done it before. It's going to be like riding a bicycle or driving a car, right? Think about the first time that you drove a car. You knew nothing. You knew absolutely nothing. You had to figure out how to make the car work, how to make it go forward. You had to figure out the traffic laws. You had to watch everything that was going on around you. We all start somewhere when we're learning something new. And now you're at the point, you might be listening to this in your car, and you might have had no idea how you actually got from where you started to where you are, which is sort of a level of unconscious competence that gets a little frightening sometimes. But that's my point, is that if you're going to try something new, stop telling yourself this story, stop applying this meaning that you're not good at it and letting it stop you. And then stop projecting meaning onto what other people are thinking about you. Because first of all, and I know this is easier said than done, but why do you really care? What gives these people, even if, let's say, you walk into a gym and all 15 people in the gym stop and pull out their notepads and look at you and start jotting down notes, like they're really just absolutely judging you, which that's not going to happen. But, let's say that does happen. Why do you care? Ultimately, ask yourself that question. Why do you really care? Why are you there? Go back to your why. Go back to why you went to that gym. Because I want to get healthy. I want to get healthy for me. I want to get strong for me. This is how you start to break that pattern. And it's a story and a pattern that we're running from wounding that we have, from things that have happened to us, from stories that we've created that we've let take over. And the biggest thing is bringing awareness to it and catching yourself when it happens. And next time you find yourself in a situation, usually all of us sort of have our tender spots, right? Of, maybe certain things, maybe it's around our bodies, maybe it's around always feeling left out, maybe you were really badly bullied in middle school. We all have kind of a tender spot, and that's the place where we tend to create that meaning around what other people do or what we project that other people are thinking about us. And then that puts us at odds with them, because in our heads, we're fighting this little battle with them. When the truth is, we don't actually know what they were thinking about us. They could have been thinking something really positive. They could have been looking at you going, wow, I wish I was like that, or I wish I had that, or, I wish whatever. So see that and start to bring awareness to it, and start to bring awareness where those tender spots are for you. And start to look for, first of all, see it as evidence of an area within you that you want to start to bring healing to. And then the other piece of it is you want to look at what's the other meaning you can make to create better feelings in the moment, to create connection rather than disconnection with somebody else. Or, if you're in that situation where you're trying to do something new and what's stopping you is that story that I'm not good at it, well, bring awareness to that too. Like, call out that story that you're telling yourself and the meaning that you're making of, that you're not good at it, and break that story up. So much of the keys really to healing ourselves and to having a fulfilling life and to living with more confidence are exactly that. It's bringing awareness to those patterns that we run that are stopping us from either doing the things that we really want to do, that are holding us small, or that are keeping us at odds with other people. Again, even if it's just energetically that are keeping us at odds with other people. Because remember, those people in the gym, and this is what I told my client, I said, listen, those women that you see that, you say, oh, well, they're just perfect fitness models. My guess is, and not always, right? But a large percentage of people haven't done work on themselves around if you're listening to this podcast, you're listening to it because you have an interest in healing yourself or living a more fulfilling life, or both. Not a lot of people are at that point. more and more people are. But my point in saying that is this, that most people in that gym probably have a lot of insecurities. They probably have the same insecurities that you do. 95% of the time, they have the same insecurities that you do. So instead of making them this sort of imaginary enemy, why don't you look at them and go, wow, maybe she's got those same insecurities that I do, and make it sort of that unspoken, like, way to go. We're here moving our bodies. We're here making a healthy choice for ourselves. Let's make it something that we can bond over. Again, you don't have to, I'm not saying you have to say anything to them. You certainly can, but don't fight an imaginary battle in your head about it. Like, let's make it a solidarity, sister. You know, it's great that we're all here. Wow, those are awesome looking yoga pants. Where'd you get those? Like, find something positive you can say and shift it, because otherwise the energetics behind it become super negative. So bring awareness to it. Bring awareness to where these sort of invisible battles come up for you. Bring awareness to where these tender spots are for you, and check yourself next time. Catch yourself and go, what meaning am I making of that? Wow, I made a meaning of something that person, a look that they gave me, that I really don't have any idea what was going on there. And then choose to assign a different meaning to it. If nothing else, it makes you feel better. And then when you feel better, you operate at a better level, you accomplish more, you do more, you smile at more people, you have a more positive impact on others. So what I want to leave you with today is watch the meaning that you're making. And when you find yourself caught in a story like that, when you find yourself saying, oh, they were thinking this about me, or oh, they're judging me, ask yourself, is that really true? Just stop. Just kind of do a record scratch. I don't know if anybody listening here remembers records. I don't think I'm that old, but anyway, record scratch, right? Stop. Interrupt the pattern. Is that really true? And then ask yourself, what else could be going on here? What's a different meaning I could make of this? And then sit with, why it matters so much to you what they think. If you're doing what's really good for you, why do you care? Like, seriously, ask yourself that question and get curious about it and see what comes up for you. So catch the meaning that you're making, interrupt the stories that you're telling yourself. And this is a big step forward to creating more happiness and more fulfillment in your life and getting you closer to whatever it is that you want to bring in more of in your life. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Courage to Rise podcast. Visit my website, couragetorise.com, for more information on one-on-one coaching, group coaching programs, and other upcoming events. Remember, life's too short not to sparkle. Sparkle on.